Okay, let's get started. I just wanted to squeeze in a quick live stream while I had a chance this morning. And again, I have a busy week coming up next week. Be tough to fit in some live streams, but I definitely will continue with my updates in the morning and in the evening. It'll be hard during the trading day to have a lot of detailed updates, but I will get out information and try and maybe I can get a live stream in midweek. Just a crazy week. Don't expect to have that type of disruption again until maybe early May for 1 week. So it should be just a little bumpy there, but then the consistency you've been seeing recently will continue. Just kind of a crazy week. So it looks like we've got a bunch of super chats already coming in. So we'll just jump into it. Again, I always start with my members first. Let's look at Thomas. Yours is MOWI. Let's take a look at that real quick. And let's see here. Let's go to our requested stocks. MOWI. So a lot of the market probably is close to finding a low. I still think a lot show like just a little bit more downside, although some actually still may show some substantial. But I think for the most part, a lot of these lows are getting close. So this is just a simple three-wave move, right? It's pretty easy to project the target, the ideal target, but the market sometimes truncates. So 2047, you've got this gap, right? Could easily go into that area. So this is the area that I would expect it to typically bounce. And it also kind of aligns with the overall general market forecast of just a little bit more downside. Here, you see you never really took out the divergence, but that's a shorter cycle. We really want to see the larger cycle. Let's just confirm. So the larger cycle looks okay here, but let's look at the shorter leg again. So it looks like you've got some kind of five-wave move down right here. So it's like a 1-2, right? That looks like a 1-2, and here of some kind, and then you're coming down in a 3-4-5. But I think if you look at it, let's just double check things. You did take that out, so you could say that that's a 3 and a 4 here. The only thing that concerns me is typically on the shorter cycle. I mean, I wouldn't want to see it the whole thing be above this peak. Normally, you would get this peak to break, and then you still will see the bullish divergence on the fifth leg. But to see the whole thing above this peak does concern me, only that you may have a 1-2-1-2. It may not be a 4, it could be a 1-2-1-2, and you get a much stronger push lower, which wouldn't surprise me. So I don't think the low's in. I think it still has more downside. More downside's got to happen. And I wouldn't be surprised. Again, gaps don't have to fill, but they typically, once you get in close to it or into it, it usually does. But daily gaps are the most important. So let's just check out the daily chart and see that daily gap more than likely will fill. And then I bet at that point it'll probably be a 1-2-1-2. You get 3-4-4-5-4-5, and it's done. Okay. Anonymous. Oh, sorry if I missed your super chat. No big. I apologize. It's so hard. I get so many of these, which is, I guess, a good problem to have. Or I just need to do more live streams to break up the super chats a little bit. Let's go do into that. Let's do that here. So, can Bitcoin go as low without breaking? Yes, it can do that, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, just to run the stops and really mess with people's mind. And this is I was saying that if this push happens lower and it wants to come down in a real dramatic capitulation, okay, I think it wicks back up. But I bet a lot of people will stop out. So you really, like I said, think I think it could do that. Now, I don't look at the level necessarily that, because this is a 2. So the 2, I mean, remember, we're correct in this whole cycle. So this 2, I mean, it can go even lower, right? There's no reason for it to stop here. This is a nice area for it to stop. So the whole structure is still sound. Now, what happens is if this happens, then you're looking at a potential like bigger corrective move, and then maybe you know we'll start worrying about the cycle being over. But I think for now you don't worry about it. I wouldn't be surprised if 68,000, then it just comes right back up, and then it's over. So Bitcoin's in a weird spot right here, right? You would think it makes a one more swing higher up to this wave four, up to this 92,000, maybe even back testing. I mean, not, but we don't we don't control the market. We don't know. But I don't like calling this the bottom with a five wave move down. This looks like a clear three waves. This looks like a three waves. It's like we're moving in threes. So I'm missing. I gotta, again, the market may violate and the labeling could be off a little bit. Who knows? And we surge higher. But I still think we have another push lower, and it wouldn't surprise me to see it penetrate into this area and wick back up. I'll just say that. It doesn't have to, but I still think everything is okay for now. Perhaps a close below, maybe a close down here. We would check the cycle to see if a major top is in or not at this peak. But if anything, you'll get a better rally out of this, and then we could decide what to do from there. But I think it's we shouldn't worry about that. I think right now Bitcoin obviously is trying to form a major low, but the problem is the shape of this wave. Okay, that's the problem. If it would have ended here, that would have been different, or even maybe here, but it didn't. It made a nice, beautiful impulse in a Y wave. Needs to be in 3. Okay, unless this is an impulse down from the top of some kind, and this is some kind of fifth wave, or a wave 3, 4, 5, which would still bring us lower. So if this is an impulse from the top, we should still go lower. If it's a wave 5 from the top, well, then we should bounce and fail and go much lower. And the bounce would go a lot higher, and we would reset the cycle. So if we bounce really high in Bitcoin, we could reset the cycle. Then we'll move our stop loss to 78, and then we would say, if 78 breaks, yes, the major cycle's in, and it's over for a while. But we need a bigger bounce to confirm that, and we don't have it. And I mentioned on our 4-hour cycle is still bearish, and we're still in the correction. So while the bounce was nice and dramatic, it wasn't strong enough to end the correction technically. So that's why the second leg lower is possible. If we can get a bigger bounce, another swing up, it could end the correction. We put our stop at 78, 6, wherever this is here, and then it has to defend this low, because then it's either a 5-wave move down, where this is a big A, a big B, and then a big C, or it's some other count, and that's 3 waves, and it's just labeled, and we need to relabel it. And now, people in my members already will profit from basically any scenario. So we don't care about the label. Like a lot of Elliott wave people out there, and a lot of people that are very orthodox about Elliott wave theory will get caught up in this. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter whether we bounce like this or we bounce to new high. Like we already knew to wait to get to here. First, we waited to this moment. We didn't buy in this mess. Our members waited. They're long already, and so if it bounces, they're going to make money. And if it bounces and it breaks, so we don't care about the labeling anymore. We could care less about the labeling. Okay, that's why don't get caught up in the labeling. But I am showing you that I think it could swing down one more time. Okay, like this. That's all I'm saying. And if it does that, I think it could penetrate this area to scare enough people and then wick back up. That's all I'm saying. A close below this level probably would indicate the bigger cycle's over, and that's the way the market works, guys. Okay, and that's the way this is going to play out. And luckily, we didn't buy here. We didn't buy here, so most of my members have already bought in this area already, and so yeah, they may have already been. They're already up. They're already up. Some of them aren't. Maybe they're up by $100 here, like, but it doesn't matter the count. The level's what's most important, okay? But I'm showing you, I think it's got another pullback. So I want to get that Bitcoin like update out. So that's some, and I go through this analysis, guys, for all my members all the time. If you subscribe to me, it's only $5 to get this information. Okay, that's all it is, $5. Anyway, let's look at NVAX, Novavax. Okay, Novavax, had a very bearish structure. Perhaps the XBI is weighing on it as well. So we're pushing lower. Now, once we break this low at 678, the bearish case becomes alive. And then it becomes a short. You can start to short this. Right now, I wouldn't short it. Okay? You have a massive connector right here. And you have another little connector right there. So it looks like it's missing another swing lower. Okay, it's what it looks like to me. It looks like we need one more swing down to finish the move. To finish this move. And this can end at any moment. I can label this in a lot of different ways, but you get the idea. I think that's the count. I think it goes lower. This looks like it's in 3 and 3, and we go lower, and we retest these lows. That's what I think is going to happen. Not until I think we break our downtrend line. Do we really? Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Let's just take a look here. Yeah, I don't like the double correction higher. I guess there's always a possibility of a double correction higher, but I don't particularly like it. So that's why we're not shorting it here. We can't short it here because it could double correct higher. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a push down one more low, and if it were to break that low and come back up, we can short those pops. In Arcane Way, thanks for joining Elite. Thanks, guys, if you're signing up for my service on the live stream or earlier today. I really appreciate that. All right, XRP. Let's take a look at XRP a little more closely today. A lot of altcoins show like one more swing lower. A lot of them do, but they're close, but they're not quite there yet in like the perfect setup. Some of them, like Litecoin, look much better, much more healthier, right? Others are being annihilated, like Solana. But even Solana will find the bottom here. So again, we have this 3-wave move. Now this looks like 3 waves up, okay? So it looks like 3 waves up, but we're moving in threes, okay? We're not really moving in impulses, so we're moving in 3-wave increments. Now look at this. This looks like a 3rd wave. So it looks like to me 195 has to be defended. It has to be defended here. So you have 1, 2, and it looks like you've got some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have your 3-wave area here. Okay, and then you have your 3 waves up here. And then you have your 3 waves down here. Right, all different counts. You have your 3 wave. So you have this big 3-wave structure. So if we break this low, you have an impulse down. But even that you could talk yourself into, right? We could talk ourselves into it being a 1, 2, right? And then you have a 3-wave move off of that low, and this is an A, B, C flat. You see too many ways to label it. We don't care about the labeling. It's very simple. It's very simple. You buy this box and you hold. Look, if you would have bought that box, you would have made easy money. You could probably dump it on a scalp. Buy this box and you should be okay. That's all I'm saying. You buy this box and hold. That's what you're going to have to do. You can't get caught up in the labeling and the swings, because even if it dips back down here, I can label it as a flat and it's okay. This, if you're looking at it from a technical standpoint, you really want 170 to hold. Okay, you really want 170 to hold. I think that's the technical line in the sand. But these little swings, we don't want to worry about them too much. Okay, it's just not worth worrying about these little baby swings. Okay, we have to just understand the bigger picture, just like we had back here. Like, it could have easily got caught up in all the labeling, but at the end of the day, we knew eventually where we were going, and I still think we go one more swing higher. And then there's a massive correction. I mean, massive correction. And, you know, only the most religious and devout XRP holders will still hold it through it. And at some point, you'll come out of that, possibly years later, or even longer, for all we know. And this could easily go past 6. I mean, this could easily rise even higher than what I show here, okay, when this finishes. If we break this low, it just moves X around a little bit. But you know, really, that's the technical line. That's the technical line in the sand. Okay, SMCI. Again, I don't like these speculative stocks. I don't like these speculative stocks with bad news events. But if you would have shorted the box, this was the short area, right? The short area, and you should be getting paid. And like most of semis do not look healthy, guys. They look like they're about to have 3 of 3 moments to the downside, not to the upside, to the downside. Okay, what did I say could happen to SMCI in wave 3 after a nice, beautiful 5-wave move down? It goes to 0 and you lose all your money. What if it doesn't open for business for some reason? Your money is all gone. You will get nothing. Everything you have in it goes to 0 and it's all gone. Poof, gone. Pennies on the dollar if you're lucky, probably not as equity holder. So that's what you're playing around with. If you're playing with this, I mean, geez, guys, please be careful, okay? Now, if you're short, different situation. The ideal short entry was up here, but that is now disappeared. Shorter cycle, we did break this low, and it does look like we should still have more extension lower, right? It doesn't look like we're at an area yet. So, I mean, if it pops back up, short it. If it pops back up in 3 waves, short that shit. Short it. Short it down. Now, when it's down here, I wouldn't mess with it. But if it pops up in 3 waves, short it. Short it, short it, short it, okay? That's what I'm trying to say here. This looks like an impulse down, too. It looks like I'm about to do a counter trend rally. If we get this 2-wave, short that. Short that 2-wave. Short that 2-wave. Okay, that's the setup I see here. No long setup. Shorts. And look, if we get that 3-wave, I'll give a box here. And short area is 44.60, 47.34. This would be the ideal short opportunity. And maybe you can get lucky. Very low risk, right? It could go higher. Okay, fine. But if this is like a 3-wave move, this would be the natural area for rejection. And then you get the teeth of the short, the teeth. You get the meat of the move. The meat of the move. Okay, right there. But if you're already short here, you just keep it. I wouldn't even think to cover it yet. Wouldn't even enter my mind. Make the market prove to you it can retake this level. Obviously, retaking this level would be technically significant and huge if it can do it. Under this level, it could be entering a disaster. a calamity. Okay, I can't emphasize enough. It's got to come back over this level. It's got to come back over this level. If not, it could be in the 3 of 3 on the grand super cycle, looking at the structure and the levels. It could be a go to zero, a bankruptcy, out of the market, gone, poof, zero. Okay, I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here. Then the risk, if you're long, a lot of risk to be long. There's so many other stocks to be long. Go buy AMD. If you want to play the semis and you want to play the long side and counter trend, go buy AMD. It's beat up, it's down. You don't have a go to zero risk in AMD. Here you have a go to zero risk, is all I'm saying, guys. If you're long. If you're short, this is a great opportunity right here. And it was right here, and now that opportunity is gone. But we may get another opportunity. Anyway. Next is Donald Connell. All right, let's look at Coinbase. How's Coinbase doing? Getting close, but not there yet. Oh, so close. Looks like 5 waves. Maybe 3 or 5, depending on if I label the W here and goes up a little bit, it's W, or it could be an A here. Now, what's interesting is it did it. Let's look at the after hours to see if the after hours filled the gap. We didn't fill the gap. It almost filled the gap, but it didn't quite fill the gap. Let's and again, I'll check if it's a daily gap or not. So here, yeah, clearly this cycle's over, down. We're in an uptrend, right? Look at this RSI. Again, this is just kind of a elementary trading 101 here, guys. RSI, look how it's bleeding upward. Okay, if I draw the line to this peak, you see this peak here? Where was the price at this peak of Coinbase? It was at 267. Where's the price now? At 215. I call this hidden bearish divergence in the market. So you see in the RSI structure, people are dumping it into the strength. They're selling hard. It's being dumped. And you have hidden bearish divergence here. That's a warning sign that this leg will have a whole nother leg lower, which is what we expect, like we saw here. The RSI is resetting, but the price isn't following suit. That's very bearish. That's a hidden bearish divergence in the market, guys, okay? So that's just traded 101, but hopefully everybody knows that. And some people just trade on those divergences. And there's a lot of divergence traders that it works out. This big gap, is that a daily gap? Let's look. It is. It hasn't filled. It's probably going to fill. I mean, it's probably going to fill. I think no matter what this is, it's hard to say what this mess is here. It could rise a little bit more, or it's 5. But look, let's look at that leg and see if what that looks like 3. So it looks like this is the right structure. Can I put X here? Can I put it up here? I don't know. If we take out this low 200, it ushers in the next level. I think it's chopping around in a connector, unpredictable. One more leg lower should do it. And this is the buy area. And then Connell should mirror this chart a little bit, right? And it's going deep, right? And I was worried about this happening, right? This looks like 5 down. Okay, this is 5 down here. Or 3, same situation. So we're going to have to get a little more, we're going to have to open the box up. So this was a conservative view, but this is really, 1732. Let's look at the bigger picture. It could even be a bigger correction. We have 3, and it actually comes back down. Perhaps that's where it's going to go. So looking at it here, this is probably why you're getting a connector here. That's probably saving it, but I bet it goes lower looking at the structure. So I think you'll get a bounce here. Maybe you'll get something more, but I think you need to manage your own risk because I think you could get another leg lower and then do a bigger correction off of this peak here. And so I'll relabel it. I'll relabel it to show this possibility. This is a slightly different look here, where you have. Let me go back here. Okay, so so the where it's where you have your an A, yeah, W here, it'll be a W. You know, A, B, W, and then X and Y, and then this was an A, B, C flat. It was a flat, so it's an A, B, C. So we would tweak this a little bit, so that would become like a 1, 2. You know, we would have to label it as a flat, like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you have your first 3, 4, 5, and you come down the level. So you would have to label this as an impulse down from here, and then the level would take you, and I'll try to get the level. This is the worst case scenario. This is the worst case scenario. Okay. I know it seems unlikely, but that's 420, right? That's why we have to stop out at this peak. Because this would be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. This would be a 3 of 3. This would push Coinbase down to these lower areas down here at 153. And it has to hold this low at 146. If it can't hold 146, then you have to force a flat correction off of this peak here, A, B, C. And this would be one of the worst flats I've ever seen. And then that would get you to $97. So that's why I think in Con-L, I think what the structure is telling me is it should bounce more here. You should get something out of this, but then after that, there's a high risk it could fail, so you should probably manage your money. And I think you got to watch Coinbase and see what happens here. This is where if Coinbase can bottom here, then Con-L should bounce a little bit and come back and perhaps, you know, respect this low. But you do have a potential for much more downside. So I think you got to be really careful trading it now. It's too deep, and when I look at Coinbase, it went too deep, and it doesn't have the structure, you know, that I'm looking for. I think it's going to bounce and fail. I don't think that's the low. We don't have that confirmation yet. I think we'll bounce though. And I think you got one more swing down. That's all. So I think if you're in Con-L, you stay in it, put your stop loss at 1947, and just see what kind of reaction you can get. And maybe, and just maybe, I'm wrong, and that is the bottom. And if I'm wrong, you did good, and you're gonna be okay. So I think there's nothing wrong with that. Or you could stay in it, and then if Coinbase takes out 201.08, you could just sell it because it's obviously making the next leg lower, and you don't want to go on for that ride. So the problem I have with a lot of the crypto market, guys, is it seems like it's missing one more swing down. Although it was really an intense sell-off, which we expected, the structure of the waves across crypto look like it needs one more swing lower. The structure of the wave, but that's fine-tuning an entry, so you just have to decide for yourself what you want to do. I think it goes down here. And then I think it brings this lower a little bit. Okay, that's all I think. The worst case scenario, it's a flat like I showed, and then this just melts down and it hits 99. And of course this would just get annihilated. So that's why you got to stop out. Okay, you got to stop out. Okay. Coinbase is tricky. It's not straightforward. I'm short after 3. Good job, Martin. Good job. Good job. And yeah, I got the resolution up, guys. Good job for shorting that. Tesla's not there yet. I don't think it's there yet. If you're an elite member, right? I gave a good Tesla update for my pro members, and of course you have access to my pro videos. Watch it, and I think you'll learn a lot about what I think about Tesla. So let me go back to Ryan. Okay, Ryan, thanks again for the super chat. Let's look at Gurr. Gurr. I was watching Gurr I watched it surge, you know. So when you see it surge like that, shit, I don't know what happened there. We'll go back and change that. Sorry about that. Okay. So here we have to just project a new target, right? So the target goes up. So now it's 1582 is our target, okay? 1582. I still think it's a connector wave because it's correcting a major cycle, and it looks like 5 down. This looks like a 3-wave move. So where can it find the rejection area? Right where we are now, 3080. So it's at risk of a reversal in this area. Now we've seen it could become a flat, but this is the area. Once we broke, so if you're ever trading it, guys, once you break this high like you did here, that opens up the upside, and that's what we saw. And it looks like you've got like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like it's moving up in an ABC, right? And it looks like you're missing a 4 and a 5. So I bet it goes higher. It looks like you're missing the 4 and 5. Unless this is like a 1, 2 right there. But it looks like you got a 1, 2, 1, 2. So I think it pushes higher. And then at some point, I would rather look for a third swing. Okay, I'd rather look for a third swing to buy it. But again, as it goes higher, you just move your target. But I think this is it. But it looks like it will go higher. It looks like it goes higher because of this doesn't look like the right shape. Like you need 5 waves up. It doesn't look like 5 waves yet. Yeah, it filled the gap. Okay. I think it's a B wave. To negate it, boy, we'll have to look at a couple things. Let's just look at the higher time frame RSIs. So we want to break we want to break this trend line. That would be the first clue, but that's a 45-minute. It's kind of irrelevant on the higher time frame. Again, the higher time frames, you want to start breaking these trend lines. I haven't not even close to doing that. The daily is a good one to let's watch the daily right here. Okay? You break the daily, breaks, the correction's over. The correction's over. And again, we don't know the future. It looks like to me, there's a possibility. You see how we never broke the cycle on the daily? It would be an extension of 5. So if we continue higher, wave 5 is extending. It's becoming like a blow off top. Okay, that's why we can't short it for sure. Because what if it's that, and you get this blow off top in wave 5? So right now, it could be a 1, 2, do some kind of blow off top. Right? Can't rule that out yet. But once the daily crosses over, the thing is, this 5-wave move perhaps was a flat, and we just, it's possible. So I think, we don't have a good setup. I think you have to just be a gambler to buy it. If you buy it here, you're gambling and playing for that outcome. The better play would be to just wait and get the third swing and buy it again, and then you have a much better situation. A much better, I think, situation from a risk-reward standpoint if you can get something like this. But this would be you're betting on an extension in 5. Okay, that's all. And I think you have to just kind of be on the sidelines here, in my opinion. And This is why we never like to buy at the top either, because it makes it hard to trade. If you bought at the bottom, where my system usually has you do it, you don't really care what's happening here, and you're not caught up in this. Whether it goes down or up, or it doesn't matter, you're just going to hold for the long term. But or watch the daily cycle break, and then once that happens, you could definitely dump it. But I think for now, we'll just label it like this, and then we'll look for a third swing. But it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed that that third swing is going to happen. But I think it's likely, is what I'm saying. Yeah, maybe things are a lot worse than we think. Um, there are people I follow that are very bearish, okay? And there's people that think the grand super cycle has ended. And I follow a few of them. Some of them don't. Some of them think the 2009 cycle has ended. So that's very bearish thoughts, right? That's a very bearish thought. Like there's guys I follow, and again, I'm not disrespecting them in any way, but they think the Dow is going to go below 1,000. The Dow Industrial Average will finish and go below 1,000. Okay, and they put that in. That's in writing in their. And I read that. That's very bearish. That's a very. I mean, I might as well just go commit suicide or something, right? I mean, what's the world going to look like if that scenario happens? I mean, it can't be peace and prosperous time to be alive. I mean, but I can never show you charts like that, guys. Now, there are people that are that bearish, and then there's people that are stupid bullish, right? They're stupid bullish that it just goes on forever. It's another 4 and 5 to buy. It just goes up, and the market never has a bear market, and you're just stupid for not buying the dip. And there's people like that. So I'm neither of those people. I like to just trade what the market gets. Could the market be in a higher degree correction? I said it could possibly be, but I think the realistic possibility of it being in a higher wave correction is if this major cycle is finished on this 3, and I put the 3 here, and I put the 5 here, and I put this 4, here, and the 5 here. If I do that, I can do that. It technically works out. It's all kosher. It's all good. That degree correction, if that plays out, will be correct in the October 22 cycle. It will correct this leg in the market. I think it's fair to say that that leg is overextended. It needs a correction. It hasn't had one. So it's coming probably this year. The 618, which is a typical wave 4, is 507. Okay? No one believed me in tech when I said this. I started my channel at the peak in wave 3 here of grand super cycle and technology. And again, that could be another one too, but for now I'll label it as a 4. And again, if I just do, and again, I think this was my second video I ever posted on my channel, and maybe my original followers follow it. I said, it probably is going to go to 251. Look what it did. It went to 251. Holy shit. Look at that. My second video, I think my third video I ever created when I said this 3 was in, or probably, just like I'm saying now, guys, I'm saying the same thing I said back then. I'm saying a major peak could be in. I'm saying the same thing I said back then. A major peak could be in. We didn't know for sure. If it is, I said, this is probably where it's going, the 618. This is where the logical stop for wave 4. And guess what? It stopped right there. Again, regardless of the count and whatever you thought, it stopped right there. So again, if this peaks in wave 4 on the major cycle, we are looking for 508, 510. That's what we're looking for. If it peaked here. Now, it could go higher, and of course the target changes. So I think we don't know. We don't know, are we in this correction here, or are we in a smaller correction for one more high? One more high. And then you get this. I think we don't know yet. But you got to manage your own risk. Manage your risk, because what if it is done? What if it's done? And you put all your stack in on Friday afternoon because some guy on the internet said it's the bottom no matter what, and 100% certainty it's the bottom because I know the future. I'm a fortune teller. I know the future. Or some other guy I follow is so confident that you have to be a fool, and he put out like He put all his money, all these calls. He's buying all these calls, and he's like this is you're the dumbest idiot for ever even thinking to be bearish. Like I mean, and he had to write a tweet that was probably like 3 pages long to prove his point, like lashing out at his community about how right he is. Now, when people are getting that emotional, think about the sentiment. He's a perma bull guy, trader, writing a 3-page tweet to his followers that he's 100,000 followers, maybe more, I don't know, just unsolicited to scold anyone that thinks the opposite of his thought right now and how stupid they are and how smart he is. And to just have to put that out with all the emotion and tone. When you read it, the tone tells me they're sweating. The permabull community is getting nervous. They're scared. They're worried. So that's what that's telling me. You're seeing fear. We're seeing fear for the first time, and that's showing up in those kind of tweets. Those because they need that to like reassure themselves that because they know they're all in with their stack. Warren Buffett has the biggest cash pile that's ever had. He sold his SPY index, for God's sake. Warren Buffett doesn't even have an index fund anymore. I mean, think about that for a minute. You think you're smarter than that man? That man's been trading since basically post-Great Depression. And this guy is like basically telling you, I've got a boatload of cash out of the market and I'm out of the index fund. I mean, come on. I mean, you think that guy's probably gone to something, right? You think maybe that guy's probably a little smarter than I am. And think about all the resources and analysts that he can fund and pay for, and the connections and the network of people and community he taps into, and the businesses he owns, and he has insight into the real economy from those businesses that you don't have. And look what he's doing with his money. He doesn't have all his cash in. You ask any trade, most of these pro traders on TV, they're like, I'm 3% cash, 5% cash. I mean, are you guys crazy? That's like all in with your chips, man. That's all in. Like you gotta be careful. The bigger cycle. So this is the bigger cycle, okay? And the worst case scenario, it's another 1-2. And if it's another 1-2, okay, if this is a 1-2 and this is another 1-2 and not a 4. It will go deeper, and it could come back and retest the October 22 lows. And that would be a catastrophe for investors. So that's what's at stake. The risk is high here. You have a high risk. So if you're playing bounces, just understand the risk. And if you do it, you're okay. You're cool. Okay, that's cool. But if you don't understand the risk and you're not paying attention, you just don't know. So I think, again, I personally think we have one more high, but I can't guarantee one more high. I can't guarantee it. No one can. We could easily be at a major peak and of this cycle. I don't think we're at the peak of the grand super cycle. I don't think we're at the peak. I don't think that's the count. I don't think that's the count. I mean, but we can worry about that later. We'll have plenty of time to look at the grand super cycle count if we get into a bigger bear market. We'll worry about that later and look at it. It's irrelevant right now. But I think an extension is probably likely in the bull market to finish one more push higher, and then and how that plays out is unknown. But watch this extension. If we can extend and make a new high, let's say we are done 4 here, and this is a 1-2, and we make a 3, 4, 5. It's a quick little burst higher of enthusiasm and short squeeze, and if we do that, okay, let's say we do that, and the VIX stays elevated, doesn't come down. Well, that happens. If the VIX does not come back down and stays elevated, it's predicting a crash, guys. I'm just telling you, that when we peak, it's going to crash. It's going to crash. So watch the VIX. If we pull higher, if we start to pull higher, and then this cycle is over, and the VIX stays elevated, this is a ticking time bomb ready to go off on you. So once you break and get that sequence, God knows when it will end. Now if the VIX could come back down, it gives you a better time. But we all know the market crashes happen typically when the VIX builds. The VIX needs to build higher highs as the market goes higher. We see it all the time. So we're starting to see the VIX build higher highs. Now is the market going to make higher highs along with it? If that happens, then you know the time's almost up on the whole cycle. That could be an ideal short setup at the peak, but we don't know for sure. So I want to give you guys some free market analysis. And again, for $5, guys, you get this analysis all the time from me every day. Again, I just want to go through our comments here. Alex, let's go to Alex here. Let's take a look at Alex on Dogecoin. So let's take a look. Dogecoin is, I probably should put that on my main page because it's a popular coin here. Okay, still in our buy area, but we need to look at, again, we got to watch the swings. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it has the swings to finish here. It has the swings, right? But it doesn't, let's look at the higher time frame. That looks okay. That looks okay. This doesn't look okay. Okay, it would have been nice to take this peak out, but on the higher time frame, you do. So what I'm trying to say is this: the worst case scenario, and I don't think this is going to happen, but I have to show you the worst case scenario. We're in something like that, and then it bounces, and then it goes down, not down that far, but and you get one more swing lower. I think that's the worst case scenario, right? Or it's a 3. It's 3 like this. It goes down like that or something, or put that there. So and then it races that for like one more marginal low. So it's not an ideal picture, but I think this is where you have to start to buy it if you want to go long. But again, I look at this wave. You have 3. It looks like it's moving in 3s. Okay, that's fine. 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you have this leg, right? And then this leg looks like 5. You're missing a swing. It's like I said, most of everything around the market looks like it's missing a swing down. Almost everything I look at. Now maybe let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe not. Okay. See how we're not an impulse, so it doesn't look like an impulse, so that's okay. Here, or maybe that's the 3 there. So it's this. So I think this is the count then. Something like that, or there. That's probably the count. I'll go with something like this. But I could easily, this is way tough to label. So this is the area to buy it. But at some point you have to stop out and cut your losses. So I put the level at 15, but this is the area to buy it. Because I could play around with the label, talk myself into it like I almost did with it being finished. But then I looked at this, I still can't put my arm around. So I think I'll go with this look for the wave. But this is the area that I guess you have to start buying it if you're a believer and you have the conviction. What's this line here? Let me see this line. Okay, so this is the big trend line that broke out, that had that major surge. Maybe we're back testing that at 17 cents. Maybe we need to back test that a little bit down here. Maybe we have to back test it here. Okay. An expanded diagonal. Is it an expanded diagonal? 1, 2, 3. So maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, maybe. But if that's the case, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can't. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it is expanding diagonal. It could be. If it is, then that would resolve the count and call it finished. So I think you got. I guess it's in the eye of the beholder. But it doesn't. See, again, it doesn't matter the count because we're buying it here. You're buying it here. So we don't care. Like again, we don't get caught up with, oh, is it the labels or what the labels? We're buying. We knew enough to buy it here, right? We bought it here and got a big reactor, so we're buying. This is where we want to buy it. So I think the counts are relevant. I'm still going to leave this one, but you're right. If we start to push higher, then it's the diagonal you're saying, and then the bottom. Then this would be 2, and that would be it. So that's probably how we do it. Tommy, everyone says buy, of course. Tommy Lee, the perma bulls. I want to show you guys, and I've mentioned this on my video before. And again, the perma bulls are needed as the perma bears, or you don't have a market, right? You need perma bulls and perma bears to make a market. That's how it works. So back, rewind, and again, guys, I traded this. I was in the trenches trading this back in my call and put days. I know what happened here, guys. This was declared by all the Twitter community as the bottom, when whatever was Twitter on the time. Everyone with confidence beat at their chest that that was the low. Everyone, every single person, everyone there, everyone did. I didn't believe it, so I bought puts. I loaded up on puts. Now I was stupid. I didn't know how to trade puts properly. I just bought a shitload of puts, and I think I put like 150 grand in put. I was like, I don't believe this shit. I was just didn't believe it. You see how we whipsawed? Look, this rally, and again, they were saying the same thing. Oh, it's new highs, and you're stupid for buying. They said the same thing. And then I'm like, nope, I'm still holding my puts. I watch them drop, and then it comes back down. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then it comes back up, and the same thing. They're like, you're stupid. And then I'm like, yeah, they're probably right. And I just took the loss. And literally, I closed my position, lost a lot of money, only to see this happen. Look at that. My original thesis played out, and I didn't have the conviction, but I listened too much to the shit on the internet. But the problem is, what happened when this broke down like this happened, the permabull community was blown up. When we were here, Tommy Lee went on TV and couldn't even form the words to say what just took place. I think he was crying. I honestly think he was crying. I honestly think he was. The permabull community was blown up on this correction, guys. This was a higher degree correction, like we could be in now. This is the permabull blown up. This is permabull overconfidence. Okay? A normal correction, they're right. This would have bottomed. But a higher degree correction, the permabulls get blown up. And that's what could happen. So just understand that no matter what happens on this whipsaw that we could be in, next couple, like, be careful of this. This seems like the same set of conditions in front of us. That's what I'm worried about. Honestly, this final push lower, and again, this would be the permabulls are blown up, speechless. There'll be people yelling at Trump, screaming. There'll probably be the fear. Markets in turmoil on CNBC will start to air again. Everyone, that's it. Have we had markets in turmoil? Everyone's like, we're so bearish. I haven't seen markets in turmoil play, God knows, in a long time. We're overdue for that. So it's not as bearish as we think. Yeah, maybe the oscillators are bearish, right? But the sentiment isn't matching it. The money at, the margin and leverage in the system isn't matching the bearishness of the sentiment. So it's still, there's a divergence there. So that's why we got to be careful. So we could get the whipsaw, and then the capitulation, right? Just be careful of that. And then the permabulls are blown up. And then we can come in and buy it. Okay, just understand the bigger picture, and be careful of who you follow, guys, on the internet. This is all. In proclamations. I'll never tell you it's always going to be up for 100% certainty or down. That's for you to decide. Okay. So going to I'll go to MVIS real quick. And finish this up. So as long as we hold this level, it should be okay. It looks like 5 off the low. It looks like 3 down. So really that level. So it looks okay. Looks okay. It looks like this is the count. Something like that. That's what you're hoping for. So that's the count. So we need you need these lows to hold. You break those lows, then it's technically a broken chart, and I'll probably revisit 111. Okay, AMC. Thanks, Alex. AMC guys is just being destroyed by the Russell index, right? Until the Russell can stabilize, AMC can't. It's fighting. It's going against the current. No matter your thesis around it, or whether it should, or more people are going to movies now, it doesn't give a shit about that if the Russell's going down. If the Russell's going down, the kingdom's fallen, and I still think it's got one more leg lower. So again, our members, we bought the dip here, and we rode that. Some of them took profit at various points along the way, and then we're here. Now, we didn't break this low. That's critical. If we break this low, then I think it opens up the downside, but we haven't. So you're still in this connector situation. The most bullish situation is it takes another swing higher, which I guess you can't rule out. So this is kind of a sidelines area. We break down. I think it opens up the door for the final push lower that we're looking for. And it's something like, like that. Or maybe we push higher and come down later. But it's not really something I'd like to trade. Microsoft is in an area that for long-term investors, if you want to, you're going to have to be patient and hold through it. It's hard to pinpoint your entry, but this is again, we can always be wrong with Microsoft, which would be a catastrophe. But it's hard to believe. It's already spent so much time correcting. It's hard to believe that it will have a massive capitulation event unless there's some company-specific news or something really crazy with the tariffs hit it, or some other situation. But again, we're in this wave too. I think once we break this low, I think it opens up the door for 370. I'm showing you the kind of the worst case count. An A, a B, a C. Looks like you've got like a 1, 2, 1, 2, and we should finish somewhere down in this area. At some point though, you have to cut your losses, right? Just in case it isn't a major peak and we go deeper, because you don't want to ride it all the way down either. But it should find support. It's been in a correction for a long time. Let's look at the monthly. It's still okay on the grand super cycle. I still have it in this very bullish setup. But hey, if this line breaks, the grand super cycle peak is in Microsoft. This would be a 3, 4, 5, and we would be looking to come all the way back down to 180. Hard to believe, but we're not in that conversation yet. So but once we break this box, if we were to stop out, well then that starts opening up the door for those type of thoughts. So that's why we can't just ride it down and be stupid about it. We have to, but I think this would be the area to bounce to continue the bull market. You need this to bounce here to continue the bull market. If not, it is at risk of a potential grand super cycle breakdown. Okay. Let's do Siemens Energy on Xterra. I'll try to find the symbol. I may not find the symbol, but I'll do my best. Siemens Energy. Okay, we don't have that labeled, so let's label it. So looks like it's in some kind of wave 3, right? Just real, stating the obvious. We don't have a 4, we're still in 3. Race divergence. Now it does look like we're coming to an end. So it looks like maybe, as you can see, a major cycle has ended. So more than likely that 3 is in of some degree here. So it looks like you had some kind of extension blow off top here. So some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then this looks like, again, we have to just get this labeling. Let's just look at the labeling. 1, 2, 3, 4. So put that here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I guess I'll put the 4 there. Crash correction, because I see the peaks. Let me see here. 1, 2. Let's look. Let's just, again, I just want to take a closer look at this. So let's see here. Okay, yeah, maybe I wasn't looking at it right. You have to put the 4 there. It doesn't really work any other way. The cycles end it, but this is where I have to put the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that for wave 5. It's got to be something like that. So that brings you back to like $43. Let's look at the 618. Because again, if it's a wave 4, 42.29. So that's your confluence of support. So it's probably heading somewhere down there. And we need time to let that play out. So we need a connector wave. Now this could be the connector wave. So it could be a crash correction in 4. Well, I'll give you a buy area. There's a buy setup if this goes down, and look, 43.46. You see the triple, it's like a triple confluence. You have the Fibonacci support, you have the wave support, you have the count, and you have the wave 4 cluster. So this would be a massive area of support for long positions. But can I guarantee it's just going to happen like that? No, I can't guarantee anything. But if it were to come down, that's how I would play it. Now, if it bounces higher, well, then the connector rises here. Could the 4 already be done? It would be really premature for that. I would be careful. But again, this is just showing you one idea but it does look like it needs a 5, right? It's going to need a 5. So I'm just showing you how it could play out. So good luck on that. Dell. Yeah, let's look at Dell. Dell I was pretty bearish on. And that bearishness is playing out a little bit. So we had our first buy area here, and we got that nice reaction, but it formed as like a connector wave, and now it looks like it's trying to move to the next double corrected area. So this is a worst case area, 53.31. Does it have to happen? I don't know if it has to happen or not. I think the first sign that that's going to happen would be a break of this trend line. It looks like we're about to break it. So I think it's close. The market, again, looks like the semiconductors could be about to give up, the ship here. The AI semi play could be moving into more of a capitulation situation. And what this is telling me potentially. But it looks like you have 3 down, 3 up, and you have your first 3 down. So again, I'm just going to label it because this is the middle of the correction here. It could do so many things. Like it could still become a triangle. It could double up. It could. So I'm just showing you one possibility, but there's a lot of paths, and that's why it's more of the sidelines. Like it could be this. We could get a bigger X. Could get a bigger X. But I do think I'll just kind of leave it on this chart for now, and you can decide how you want to play it. But I would say that I wouldn't be bullish until we broke this trend line right around here. Maybe break that trend line, you could get maybe more bullish about buying opportunities. But I showed you the technical setup for potential breakdown. Let's look at some long-term lines here. See how we broke that line already? That line. Let's look at another one. The historical. There is your historical tap right there. That'd be the perfect investment opportunity right there. If you were patient and we get that, 53, 52, the long-term trend line, and then life goes on. That's the grid. That's the ideal setup in Dell. But how we get there, I don't know. Could we get there? Well, it seems like we've gotten there before here, and here, and possibly another time. This would be the time to do it, given the where the sector is. And again, if we break this high, I think we're just in a bigger connector off the low is all. But I think I'm still going to label it this way until the market changes my mind with price action. But there's no trade. It's a sideways price action. Okay, Valneva. All right, I'll look at that one for you. That's a pretty big reaction. Let's take a look. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's look at that. You see how we ended in 3, so it morphed into a different corrective structure on us. It morphed into an ABC corrective structure. And that's fine. Now we kind of have the personality of the chart. So we have this like A, B, C, right? So now we could trade off of this low, 368. So we could take long positions off that low and start to trade the long side of the market. Now it's a better setup. So it looks like you're in a 4-wave off the low. So I'll give you now see, what we do know about these 3-wave setups is sometimes they don't, there's no guarantee of a 5th wave. So keep that in mind. There's no guarantee of a 5th wave. So this bounce is correct in the whole cycle. So this low has to hold 360. There's no guarantee you'll get this 4-wave. I'll just show you a setup. You could decide to take it. In these small stocks, there's always a risk that it's a corrective bounce and it goes to new lows. But it'll be 613, 569 would be the area right here. And then we get that final push higher. And then perhaps you get this inverse head and shoulders to play out and come out. And this could even be a 1-2, 1-2 out. So I think that's the setup. As long as this low holds, I would be looking for bullish setups. Netflix is in an area. I like to see it double correct lower. I don't want to buy this short little dip here. It looks like we have 5 down and we're in this like connector. If the connector goes up, we'll bring the target up. But right now it hasn't done that. And the next area to buy is 890, 864, 821. We fill the gap. That would be a good opportunity. Again, that's the worst case scenario. We could, like I said, the connector could play around. Now, once we break this low, then it actually becomes a short-in opportunity until we get here for day traders. But I think for now, you just kind of leave it alone and just see what happens. I'd rather buy it here, and this could be forming a major top here, a left shoulder, a head, and then I think it's highly likely we get a bounce here and get that right, the right shoulder, and then we get the big push lower and finish the correction. Again, we called a major cycle peak, right? We're calling a major cycle peak, but we don't have the confirmation yet. I don't think. Let me check. Ultimately, in the grand super cycle, it's very, very bullish. So you better take advantage of this too when it comes as an investor, long-term investor. Okay, you break this trend line, then you have your confirmation. And we're close. Okay, you're close on the weekly. Look, it's well overdue. It's well overdue. You have bearish divergence. There's no reason to call an extension just yet. But I think this is how I want to play Netflix right now. And be cautious, but don't be surprised you get a bounce and then it takes another leg lower. This is a tradable bounce. Perhaps we're super lucky and get two finished. But we don't know. We just don't know. But again, if you watch my channel, we were buying Netflix down here. Okay, we were already buying. I mean, I think I even had earlier setups just on chart pattern reversal. I think there was a chart pattern reversal here. Yeah, I think I posted this on my Twitter at one point. I was like, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. What should you do? And Netflix at 371 is probably bottoming, right? We didn't care about how it was labeled. Who gives a shit how it's labeled? Just look at that chart. It didn't take a rocket scientist to say this thing's freaking reversing. So again, these bear markets come and go. And we take advantage of them, but all good things come to an end, right? It doesn't go on forever. We got to pull. We got to have a pullback, and I think it's coming. I think it's coming in some of these stocks. All right, ICT. I don't know that. Missed. Oh, I missed LPSN. I'll go back and do that real quick. LPSN. Live person. Sorry about that. So we're still pushing out in this impulse down. We want to see a little bit more downside, but we don't have a 4. Like you see this 2, you need a bigger rally, but this doesn't look like a big enough extension. But there's no rule for that. So I think you just have to keep expecting this to push lower. I think you just keep expecting this to push lower until but at some point you'll get a 4. You should get a 4, and then maybe we'll have something better to look at. But I think you just push lower. I think you have this trend line it's up against. As long as you're on that side of the trend line, you're still in the correction. Now, if we could break through it, well, it may morph into a different type of corrective pattern. But I'm going with this for now. It's not something I would be looking to buy, but you could decide how you want to do it. Yeah, so as an elite member, my spreadsheets are available. I put them at the end of the videos every weekend. I definitely put those, but even during the week, I'll try to update them if I can. I definitely commit to the weekends. And they're at the end. The reason a lot of people like, just email me the spreadsheet. I don't care about the videos and stuff, but I need people to watch the videos because it gives you context, important information that I think is relevant, because a lot of people don't hear what I have to say, and they may just buy something and put all their money in one thing, and they don't hear what I'm, or they don't understand the box is big and how to ladder in. They screw up, and then they want to go after me. And even try to hurt me, they even say, some people, because they blame me for their stupidity. So I make people watch the video, and if you want to fast forward through it and get it, that's your decision, and you're making a conscious decision to jump the information. But if you want to, you'll have to, they're at the end. My elite videos, I usually put the spreadsheets at the end when I have big updates to them. And I actually, all my pro and basic members get spreadsheets as well with trades. Trade ideas. I can't tell you what to trade. They're ideas, and you decide for yourself how you want to use that idea. Kerwin. TCHP. TCHP. Oh, okay, so kind of a ETF. Let's take a look. Uh-oh, that's not good. That could be an oh shit moment, right? That kind of lines up. So is the cycle over? So the question we need to ask ourselves is 5 in, or is it going to extend? I wish I had a crystal ball. I wish I knew. We don't know if 5's going to extend or not. Now, it could extend. I mean, depending on how I draw the line, it's right on the line. Boom, right where you would have hoped for it to find support. But let's look at the RSI, the momentum. I mean, that looks horrible. Right? I draw the line there. It broke down, and it's breaking down, right? Even if I draw it maybe on that, maybe I tweak it and draw it like that, it still broke down. So I would actually, I think it's entering a bear market, and as long as you're below this line, this is now the magic line. So as long as you're below this line, you're in a bear market in 2. Now you could come back over it, then that's different. So I think this is a warning sign, perhaps some insight into 5's peaked already. but there's no guarantee. So I don't. I wish I could tell you. It's just like my SPY forecast. I think you're coming to the end of you're at the last out of the last inning on this thing. I could do this, and it's over, and it's a flat. And remember, flats are crashes. Flats are crashes. So there's that, or we extend. We extend and then I put the 4 here. Maybe does a bit, did something like that, and we extend. We just don't know. I think a break of this trend line would be the final nail in the coffin. I think if you break this trend line with the RSI break and everything else, I think it wouldn't be smart to call that it's going to just keep going higher. I think you're in the corrective period, and there's your wave 4 cluster. You'd be targeting $34 over a multi-month correction of some kind. Okay, and then RWM, a short Russell. Okay, interesting. So the short Russell, it's a different one than the one I'm used to. So you see how we broke that low? We have 3 waves down. Let's take a look at the monthly. So right away, if you look at that bullish divergence playing out, right? You expect when this line breaks, whether it's here or if I draw it here, it's already on. When this line breaks, you're going to have a big drop, right? A big a big spike. So that would be it's built into that moment. You have the momentum oscillator wide open to the upside. So all the momentum on the longer term chart is higher, which is pretty obvious, right? The Russell's been sucking wind. And again, you have this bullish divergence here on this. So this could be like some kind of 5th wave off of a big decline. So let's look at the bigger picture and see what's going on. Again, I'm not going to try to label this, but more than likely, this is an impulse that's probably finishing up here. Okay? Your 3 of 3 was somewhere here. Okay? So if I won't label it, but you'll get the idea that somewhere, this is your 3 and 4, you're in some kind of a 5th wave here. Okay? That's more than likely what's playing out. And this is probably your like 1, 2, 3, 4. That's probably your 1, 2 right there. Again, I'm just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's probably what's happened. Okay? So now if we look at this, again, eye of beholder, it's finished, right? Because I have 5 waves. I mean, if I look at it as a 3 wave, like something like that. But could it go down more? Maybe. Maybe it could extend or whatever, but maybe it doesn't. So that opens up the door for at least 26, right? There's your wave 4. But what if? Just what if? I mean, what if the Uber bears are right and it comes back up to this wave 4 at 53? Holy shit. That would be a catastrophe for the Russell. I mean, at some point, guys, Elliott wave theory says after 5 waves down, you have 3 waves up. I mean, no matter your chart, right? No matter your chart. So whether you're a super bullish, I mean, at some point, some point you have to pay the piper with a correction. Are we at that point? Maybe. We might be. We might be. I don't know, but I'm just showing you. We don't have enough data, but clearly you have like a little bit of a higher high here. This looks like 5. But let's just double check that. Yeah, it looks like 5. So, and we broke the high. So that opens you up for 25. So we should see this level. Wait, this is Russell 200, sub 200, right? This is why I'm calling. That's why I'm saying short the Russell, because I think this should be here. But how we get there? What I think the worst, the most erratic path to get there would be a flat. And it does something like this, and it comes back down. If it does something like that, I'd look to buy this back here. Okay, but the beat could be done here, so we don't know. But I think until you get to this area, this will be a very big area. This area, the Russell will be defended Like with everything every bull has in them. Aladdin will defend the Russell with their whole army, every weapon and bomb and everything they have in their arsenal will come out because what's at stake is a catastrophe if they fail. So that this area will be defended. So don't be stupid and just buy it up here because I think this area could produce a big reaction lower, or the Russell continues higher to new highs for all we know. God knows, right? So, but I think the door is open for more downside to the Russell to get to this area here. And if you're really short, maybe just maybe you get the bigger four, and it comes back up, to where was it? Up here, this four. But we would know that because we would just cut through this like butter, right? If we have to get up this far, we won't. This would just we just obliterate through that, like we just blow through that, like before anyone realized what happened, because there's not enough time in the market unless we're going into like a decade-long bear market to get up this hot. Like this would have to happen pretty quickly. So we would need. The other thing too, these levered funds could dislocate because they're not, the way they're traded. So they may have a premium, and not trade at NAV. That's another thing to keep an eye on. And if you don't know what I'm saying about that, then you shouldn't buy them. The leverage funds, these short funds and leverage funds. Just be careful because in a real bear market, big put, it could be trading over NAV, and that could get these prices higher out of proportion with the actual index it mirrors. All right, RWM. We did that. Okay, that's what I was just doing. My bad. I'm not familiar with this one. I have to add this one to my ETF bucket. I use a different one. I use a different one. But okay. I'm just finishing up with the comments, guys. Yeah, I was looking at Starbucks. I see a lot of things about Starbucks, guys. All I could say is it's tough to say if it's a connector or not, or we have a major low. There's not enough data. I'm not sure. But I haven't really looked at it that closely. But I did take a glance at it. Thanks, Nathan and Pamela McDonald, for the call on gold. Thank you for saying that. Here's how to play platinum, guys. Here's how to play platinum. This is and again, the thing about platinum is it's in a massive compression situation. Okay, platinum is in this compression, price compression. I put the 2 here. This is very bullish. If it's a 1-2, 1-2, you do the idea. It's gonna just boom. It's mooning. It's gone. Now, if this breaks down, then it was a triangle connector wave. Okay, it's a triangle connector wave, and it breaks down. We want to buy it at 640. But if this low breaks, then we're looking at 400. That's a big deflationary crash. Okay, now we do know a gold cycle is coming potentially to an end of a major cycle. Again, potentially. Could always erase divergence and extend, right? But look, a 5, a 5, a 5, and a 5. Now, I could label this wrong, and this could still go down, stop out, and that's it, right? But I mean, all good things come to an end. I think people are more bullish gold than I've ever seen. I've seen more stuff on gold than I've ever noticed. Typically, that's not the sign of a bottom, right? I mean, I don't know. It sounds like it needs a healthy shakeout, which I think will happen here. More than likely, platinum will follow suit to the downside. So perhaps platinum is going to open up down to here. So I don't want to trade it because of this compression, this triangle. It's not really a good idea to trade it. It's not trend in. And it could be on the verge of a dump, so I don't want to do it. Now, if we start to break out, we'll want to buy the pullback. Once we get a clear breakout of this mess, we take out this peak, or even this peak for that matter, then maybe we could get more bullish and we can buy platinum. But you have plenty of time to buy it with a lot of upside potential. But too much risk here. But if we does want to dump down, there's our box. But again, it would be testing up against this low. If we break that low, then it goes much lower. Then we're in a big deflationary bubble that popped somewhere in the world. And maybe tariffs are deflationary, guys. Maybe people have it all wrong. Maybe tariffs is like COVID 2020 all over again. but if for a different reason. Maybe business just shuts down, stops, grinds to a halt because people, the factories just aren't economical overnight all over the world wherever they are, and they just stop making shit. Everything just kind of stops. Demand just collapses. That would collapse oil, right? It would be like a mini COVID like situation. It's like the opposite of what everyone thought. Everyone thought it's inflationary because they assume everyone's just going to pay the higher prices. But what if the customers won't pay those prices? What if the companies won't pay their suppliers those prices? And what if people have already built up enough inventory so they don't need to buy anything anymore? And they're just like, we're going to wait it out. And they're just everything, like commerce just kind of stops in its tracks. Maybe the tariffs have a much more deflationary effect than people can imagine, and then they come off or something else. But I don't know. I just wonder if it's more deflationary. Maybe business and demand ceases abruptly because they're pretty, they're not surgical, right? They're pretty much blunt, like tool that's being used, and could have unintended consequences that assume a healthy economy, that people will just, okay, gladly pay the extra 25%. But what if everyone refuses to pay that? They have their inventories, they have their enough raw materials, they saw these coming, so they're all good. So now they just go ahead and the tariffs go on, and the orders stop. They just, all right, and the factories that are not economical anymore, the mathematics doesn't work, they just furloughed. They're like, we don't, and then we'll just, the idea the CEO has is we'll just wait it out. We'll wait out the storm, and because we know he'll cave eventually, right? The markets. So I just think if they go on, right? If they go on, these big tariffs, but those big tariffs, don't make a mistake about it. 25%, and on the EU, on Canada, Mexico, on China, I think they've moved it to 20 now or something. Maybe it has the opposite effect, and maybe what we're going to see in oil is the deflation, the sudden, like we saw in COVID, the sudden, oh shit, everything's shut down, commerce essentially ceases, orders stop, and then it's like, oh my God, what did I do? And we change our policy real quick and get out of that mess. But maybe not. I mean, again, I just think it's about some of the fundamentals. I'm just thinking about some of the fundamentals. So just understand like what my thoughts on tariffs. Okay, CMG. Yeah, let's look at CMG. Chipotle. Chipotle could be coming up on an investment opportunity again. We'll keep an eye on that here. Let me go back to my stocks here. So we have been patiently waiting, and we will continue to wait to get to 45, 40, or even a little lower. You know, their CEO, the godlike CEO that they had is gone, and so investors are struggling with that. But I believe, like I said, there's a lot of people that are so addicted to Chipotle, and they'll pay, the $25 for a little bowl of rice and meat they don't care. Like, I mean, whether they give big portions or not, like they just will go every day and eat. I mean, I know people that go there every day and eat dinner, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, my body was sculpted on Chipotle," and they're proud. And so this will continue, guys. This is a generational trend. This business isn't going anywhere. I don't think it's a go to zero, but it is correcting a massive cycle, right? It's correcting a major cycle. Perhaps even the grand super cycle potentially. We'll worry about that later, but I think right now this is the area right here. But we're close. Looks like could be a 4. Could get could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could also be a 1, 2, 1, 2. We just don't know. But I'd like to see it finish this second wave lower. Okay. And then pull. Let me see that one here. Oh, that's an interesting. I'm not familiar with this one. This can't be the one you're asking me about. Two easy twins. Is there something else? Let me look. What's the name of it? Poll. This there again. I'm trying to find maybe. Oh, Polar. Well, that's POLA. Maybe you could put in the chat which one, or maybe you mean this one. Like, again, I I'm not sure if you maybe had a typo on the symbol or something, but if you're on, uh, I'm not. I don't know which one. I don't think you mean the Pakistani oil fields. I'm pretty sure that's not what you're trading. Um, Even though I guess you could buy that if you were interested in it. So I'm gonna skip over that. I can always come back and do that later, or if you put in the chat real quick, if you're still on. If not, you can DM me on X, and I'll try to cover it. But I'm not sure if this is what you mean, or is a typo or something in your chat box. So guys, so that's the end of my live stream today. It looks like I got through all the comments. Thanks for joining. I hope you found it a little entertaining. And this type of analysis is always available to my members at different levels, depending on their interest and their goals. Yeah, I think we're in an interesting time. I think the market obviously is trying to end a bigger cycle at some point. I think in 2025. And then hopefully we get a continuation of the bull market. That's the game plan. The worst case is it becomes another 1-2 and it goes deeper, and that can always happen. But unfortunately, we just don't know. Okay, Polygon, gotcha. All right, I'll go ahead and do Polygon. All right, for you, Matic. Yeah. So let's see. I think that's close, right? We're almost there. We should be almost there. Let's been patiently waiting for this count to play out. So it's a C leg down. Let me just understand get my bearings on our correction here. Okay, so we need an impulse down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 1, 2 there, right? And then here you have 1, 2. So you're pretty close. Like I said, a lot of crypto altcoins show like a little more downsides is needed, but it's really close. Again, the problem is you don't have chart support, so that's always risky. It's dangerous, so we could always erase divergence. So while I'm showing 3s and 4s and 5s, I would not buy it here yet. I would still wait, either to get a confirmation the correction is over with a big reaction higher, or or just let this develop more. But I think I'll go with discount for now. But as you know, it's got a risk divergence on the higher time frames. And first the daily, it's not even close. How about the weekly? We're not there yet, so it's got more downside. It's more than likely going to extend. I have it labeled this way, but I think it could even be labeled as a 1-2, 1-2, and it's about to have a bigger move lower. But I think this was expected, right? This has been what I've been given this update, and it's continuing to play out. But I think it could continue lower, accelerate lower potentially. All right, guys, good luck on it, and hope you had a nice Saturday. And my elite members, I think I'll get my video update out. Probably, I'm thinking tomorrow morning, because I want to go through it. I may get it out tonight. We'll see. Basic and pro members, I did get the video out this morning. I do got some things to do today, but maybe I could get it out tonight so you guys have it, and see where all our stocks are traded. Lots going on. And guys, by the way, if my elite members, we're not just so bearish to market. We're long stocks, but we're probably long the right things to be long. Okay, so it isn't like we're just like out of the market. Like obviously the indices could be bearish or even more bearish than we think, but there are other stocks that are tradable out there that are kind of doing something a little different, and we're trying to find those. Our elite members are trying to find those, and at least play bounces that we get them. Like we played that first solar bounce. That was a setup I gave to my elite members. It hit our box, and then post earnings, it rallied 10%. And and a lot of members decided to just sell it and take that easy money. I did myself, but others, so I said, so we find setups like that all the time, and hopefully they work out. Some of them don't, but a lot of them work out. So anyway, guys,